One Piece Chapter 1000 is here, and I can tell you right now the feelings could not be more surreal. Now, I'm probably going to plan a video for doing just some thoughts on 1000 chapters, but today, let's go ahead and do that review. So we get the completed cover spread, and we get the completed Shonen Jump cover with Chapter 1000, and they look fantastic. Of course, the color spread is a nod to the Chapter 100 color spread, so go ahead and take a look back at that if you haven't already. Now, this chapter focuses on two main points, and that's Yamato finishing up her flashback, talking about Ace, and then there's all of the fighters finally getting to the top and facing down Kaido. And I like the fact that it only really deals with these 2 points because for the last few chapters we've been kind of jumping back and forth between 3 or 4 storylines. You know, we've had the Nami and the Usopp, we've had the Frankie, we've had Jinbei, Sanji, we've had all these different people kind of handling their own portion of the story, and so the storylines kind of bounce around a little bit. Well, for this, it's pretty much just these two. And I mean, the chapter is Straw Hat Luffy, so that makes sense. Now, first I'm going to talk about Yamato just to get that kind of out of the way, because I really want to talk about the supernova that's reaching the top. So we have Yamato finally telling the rest of the Ace backstory to Momo. And what she ends up saying is that at some point, her and Ace were talking about Luffy. We know from last year that he talked about Luffy a lot, but they were talking about his dream, you know, being king of the pirates, and how he didn't mean to tell her that portion of it, but now that she knows, he will not stand for anyone mocking that dream. And the first thing this reminds me of, even before thinking about Roger and him saying it to Whitebeard and Odin, is thinking about Kid and Killer. Because when Luffy says it in Sabaody, Kid and Killer kind of have this interaction where Kid's talking about people who don't have the will and the courage to say that, we will kill on sight. Because people used to laugh at them for saying that. So now it kind of brings up those feelings again. And even in this chapter, Yamato talks about the supernova coming up, so I find it kind of like a good connection for Kid here, that, you know, he might be a little bit more important. Now, Yamato says to Momo that someone saved the journal from the burning fire. And since we know that Yamato was there but couldn't do anything, she must have been walking around the castle or somewhere near the castle and saw the journal. Now, my guess is going to be Lady Toki, being probably the only one who knows what's in Odin's journal and how important it would be. So I can imagine her trying to, you know, throw it out of a window or keep it safe from being burnt. Now she hands it off to Momo, and this kind of scares me because when I think about Odin's journal, I think about like One Piece chapter spoilers, because this pretty much has the answers to a lot of the questions we've been asking. You know, it has Will of D answers, it has the One Piece answers, it has Void Century answers. These are the things we've been reading this series for, and they're kind of all in this one journal. And I would much rather learn it through the course of the story than I would from, you know, someone reading the journal. Now, I know that's not going to happen. Like, they're not just going to read out the journal and then give us all the answers to the One Piece world. But I do see this as a possible hint that Momo might not be going with us on the Straw Hat crew. Just because he has this knowledge now, I don't think it would make sense for him to come with this knowledge and then never use it. I think what's more likely to happen is for him to use this journal to reopen Wano, because Odin at some point knew why Wano was closed off, and I'm assuming he wrote the reason for that in this journal. Another interesting thing that Yamato brings up is that she thought the super rookies that would be kind of challenging the world would be led by Ace. And when I heard that, I thought about Whitebeard and how he probably thought the same thing. He probably, knowing what Roger said about the Will of D and the One Piece, he probably saw Ace as one of those people that Roger was waiting for. And I think that speaks volumes, because that means Whitebeard not only saw Ace as a son, but as a harbinger of the new era. So he saw someone that could bring in the new era, kind of like Luffy's doing now. And I believe he recognized Luffy as that kind of person as well, but I think he definitely saw Ace going for the top. And speaking of the top, Yamato mentions that someone in Odin's journal had the same dream as Luffy, a powerful pirate that died some time ago. And it's odd because she doesn't tell Ace that this is Goldie Roger, his dad. Why? I'm not entirely sure, because she doesn't learn about Ace being Roger's son until the war, until she reads it in the newspaper. So why she left that piece of information out, I'm really not sure. And it's interesting because Ace says that Luffy and Gold Roger would have really liked each other. And there's just a sense of wonder and happiness about Ace, even though he doesn't know he's talking about, you know, the man he hates the most in the world. So why that was left out, why she didn't tell him that, I really don't know. But I think that leaves Ace, I guess, a bit of leeway as far as not making the comparisons to his father. Because I think if Yamato tells Ace that, Goldie Roger said the same thing, that'll put a bad taste in his mouth. Because it's the person he hates the most being compared to probably the person he loves the most. And he might go on a rampage for that. We don't know. Ace has a hot temperament, so. We also see that Ace made his Vivre card here. And the more we get from this Ace flashback, the more we see that a lot of Ace lore happens in Wano. Wano seems to be a very big portion of Ace's life, or at least his early life. So the fact that Luffy's here now is definitely a big sign of fate, because Ace spent so much time here, he made so many connections here, and now Luffy's doing the same thing. And the final thing Yamato mentions is the prophecy of the strong pirates pretty much taking down Kaido. And this is what Roger kind of figured out going through Madame Charlotte and Fishman Island, reading about the One Piece, kind of gathering all of his knowledge and putting it in one place. And this is what they pretty much came up with, was that a group of strong pirates would rise. And Oden said that that group would be the ones to take down Kaido. Now, I'm not a huge fan of prophecies and things like that. I like the idea more of, this is just their goal, this is what they want to do, not necessarily that someone prophesized it. But I think the two go hand in hand, because Luffy can't do what he wants to do. Luffy can't accomplish his goal without at least taking down the Yonko or colliding with the Yonko. That's just how it works. So in a way, Luffy would have to take down Kaido to keep moving forward. It's not necessarily that he's following prophecy, that he's following his own goal that goes in line with prophecy. Or at least that's how I see it. Now let's talk about the other part of the chapter. All of the key fighters getting to the top and facing down Kaido and Big Mom. So everyone pretty much gets up to the top how I expected. Luffy gets his way cleared by the rest of the minks, and he can just run straight ahead. He doesn't have to do any more fighting, which is fantastic. Zoro gets thrown up there by Marco, and we see that Marco is pretty much gripped up King and Queen in a surprising twist. I figured that he would be holding them off, but he's literally just holding them as he throws Zoro up there. Now, they haven't started fighting yet, they haven't really started doing anything yet, so I won't say that Marco is automatically beating King and Queen by himself, but this is definitely a good showing for Marco. And it also shows that Queen is a full cyborg, or at least he's got a lot of enhancements in his body that are very cyborg-esque. We see that his neck can extend with some kind of metal coil, and we saw that he has a gun in his mouth, we saw that he has a metal arm, so he's definitely been experimenting on himself. I really hope we get to see more of that. I think that will explain his ties with Vegapunk and Judge and Caesar, and all of that pretty much tied into one. We have Law using Room to get up top, we have Kid just running still, and eventually everyone makes it up there. And it's so crazy because we get this panel of all the key fighters up there, and it reminds me of the fan art panel of the supernova facing down Kaido that's been going around for a while now. I think since Kaido dropped, or like shortly after, we've been seeing this panel, and now we kind of see a realized version of that, and it's just so surreal to me. So Big Mom and Kaido start talking about the slights Luffy has committed to both of them on separate occasions, and in the meantime Luffy just walks right past them and checks on Kinemon. And Kinemon, he has a moment that reminds me of Usopp, in which he's like, I can't show my face again, I failed. There's no way I can show my face to Oden in the afterlife because we failed. We didn't complete our task. Kaido still stands. And he asks Luffy to carry that burden. And of course Luffy says, yes, of course I will. My friends live in Wano, so I have to take down Kaido. As he talks to Kinemon, Kaido rears up for a swing, and Law moves the rest of the scabbards down below. Luffy dodges and unleashes a new move, Red Rock. Red Rock is a Gear 3rd move, so bonus points for not going into Gear 4th instantly, and it looks like it carries Rio and the properties of Red Hawk in Gear 2. We see that Luffy is flaming up, and we see that the punch engulfs Kaido's head on fire, and that's what Red Hawk does. Whenever it connects, it shoots like an explosion of fire through that person where they got hit. You can take a look at Holden, you can take a look at Doflamingo, you can take a look at Hody. They all had a similar aspect in which there was an explosion around the area that was hit. Now on Kaido's end, I think he did take this purposefully again. We have a panel in which he's glaring at Luffy, similar to how he did when they first encountered each other, when Luffy was laying into him with Gear 4th. Except this time, Luffy has gotten a lot stronger, so when he connects, we actually see Kaido take some damage. Now, I won't go as far as to say all that blood that's kind of like shooting out of his mouth and his nose is from this punch, just because his face was shown bloody like a panel beforehand. So the blood that's kind of moving around I think was already there, it's just getting knocked off his face. But he definitely felt it. You know, we see Big Mom is shocked. We see that Kaido kind of has like a what just happened face. So they're both kind of surprised by what just happened, and we get Luffy declaring that he will be the Pirate King again in both of their faces, which is amazing, which is 100% Luffy and which is 100% One Piece. So just to have that ending for chapter 1000 is fantastic. So what does this mean moving forward? Well, I think that Kaido's not really that hurt by it. He probably noticed that he took some damage, but Kaido is a damage sponge. So he's gonna get back up, he's gonna be fine. I don't think anything really happened from that punch, but it looked really epic. But the real fight starts in the next chapter, and I think then we're gonna see Kid move, we're gonna see Zoro move. I think Law's gonna be playing a little bit of chess, and we're going to see him move later on, and I think Killer is gonna be providing backup for Kid. So we'll see how this fight goes. I'm so excited. I'm so happy that we reached chapter 1000. You know, it's an amazing feeling. I'm probably gonna make a video, like I said earlier, about just the road to 1000 and how it's been. But for now, I hope you enjoyed the chapter. I hope you enjoyed the review. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how you feel. Bye.